Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. How is everyone today? Oh, I forgot to change my glasses again. Oh well, no big deal. I got the Affirmators deck today. We never got to it yesterday, but first I have what I call the Aloha deck. Just for guidance in the morning before everybody pops on, so we're not just staring at each other or looking into blank space. Wow. I forgot how hard these are to shuffle. They look smaller. I swear there were more. I've dropped them a few times, so who knows. See? Wow. I'm not sure this deck really wants to be a part of this today. Either that or it wants me to do all of them because it's got a lot of message that keep popping out. I mean, they're not that hard to shuffle, but anyways, let's see what it's got. So, how is everyone today? Happy Tuesday. How was your Monday? How was your Monday? I know yesterday was quite the wild perspective, eh? Good morning, older sibling. So, let's see. I know people probably pop on. It's like, do these people pop on every day? Yes, they do. My faithful. The perspective faithful. But, anyways, all right, let's see. Nothing else is popping out, so we're just going to, oh, there you go. Turn it upside down. We'll start with these. So the first one, if you can clear your mind, you can move a mountain. That comes from me. If you can clear your mind, you can move a mountain. Obviously not physically, but how many times have we seen obstacles that have seemed so big to us and we're just like, sorry about that. We're just like, yeah, I'm not sure I can do that. When you clear your mind, and especially of negativity and just stuff that does not need to be in your head, you start to realize that there's so much that you can actually accomplish. There's so much you can actually do. And really what holds us back is our distrust in the unknown, our fear of the unknown, our lack of self-belief in ourselves, right? The not trusting ourselves, especially the not trusting ourselves, that can be daunting and scary. So again, if you can clear your mind, you can move a mountain. So I am so sorry, guys. I know this happens like once a week, doesn't it? It's just like something comes along and poof. So good morning, baby sibling. There we go. Hopefully that's it. So there you go. All right. Music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. So there you go. And then little tiny heart ukulele. So again, now that's attributed to Plato. I looked it up. I tried to find it and made sure. So hopefully that is still correct because I found it in several different places. So again, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. It really does. Have you ever had a bad day and you just turn on music and you're like, yeah, that's exactly where I need to be? Or maybe the song is just speaking to you and telling you, hey, this is, I get how you're feeling. Or maybe someone you cannot see is trying to tell you, I see you, I hear you, I'm here with you, I'm with you, whatever, So, yeah, just music a lot of times just soothes my soul. Love is when you choose to accept the delightful flaws and quirks that make someone the beautiful person that they are. Apparently I came up with that one, but yeah, I think that's because a lot of times we wonder if we're good enough. And I think the first person that you have to be good enough is yourself. You have to be good enough for yourself. If you don't feel good enough for yourself, it's going to be hard to bring all of you to the table to someone else. And by that I mean it's just, when we sit there and doubt ourselves and we sit there and feel like we're not good enough, sometimes it can get old for other people and they don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want to, and it's not that they don't want to be there and support you, but maybe they're just exhausted trying to help you see the person that you are. You do not need to find attention through self-deprecation. Just be yourself. And if it's hard to be yourself because you don't know how to be yourself, that's where self-love comes in. That's where you start to, really kind of reach in and say, hey, these are the bazillions of things that I need to heal in order to free myself, to love myself. Self-care, self-worth, self-respect, self-love, all those things. So again, love is when you choose to accept the delightful flaws and quirks that make someone the beautiful person that they are. And if someone does come along and loves you for all those things, they would probably help you see the you that you were unable to see. And when they do that, when they sit there and say, hey, this is who I see, and especially all your friends, it doesn't have to even just be a significant other. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can even be your child. They'll say, this is what I see. Believe them. Okay, believe them. Because they're trying to bring you to a place where they're at, a place of joy, that place of happiness, where they want you to be because they care about you, because they love you, because they cherish your very being. So don't sit there and argue and say, no, I'm not. Just say, thank you. I appreciate that. I really, really needed that. If you really did need that, just say, I really, really needed that. And if it's just one of those things where it just feels like a delightful comment, just say, thank you. That, I appreciate that so much. It's very sweet of you to say. So, here we go. The coconut. Coconut meaning, considered a fruit of the gods. When one smashes a coconut, it is the equivalent of smashing the ego, which gives way to inner purity and knowledge, symbolized by the white fruit. Let go of fear and embrace your life. Let go of fear and embrace your life. So again, smashing the ego. The ego is where all that icky stuff comes from, all that negativity, all that I'm not good enough, I can't do this because what if it fails? The ego is where a lot of the shoulds and what ifs come from. What if I had done this? Should I have done that? But here's the thing. We can't go backwards, right? I was thinking about this last night when I was in bed, and I think this is the perfect card for talking about that, because coconut, when one smashes a coconut, it is the equivalent of smashing the ego, which gives way to inner purity and knowledge, symbolized by the white fruit. Purity and knowledge, and look, that's a good time right there, right? On that card, that was a real good time. But I was thinking about that last night, and I didn't think it would be a subject today, but that seemed to be pointing me in the direction of talk about it. And I was watching a TV show yesterday, and this woman discovers she has a long lost half brother that she never knew about. And he's a successful lawyer in the show, and he's just kind of like he's not a regular. He just kind of, sporadically shows up throughout a couple of seasons in the series. But she sits there and she just like, well, I'm X amount of years old, and I think in the show she said she was 52, which she's actually older, so she's always lying about her age. But she's like, I'm 52 years old and I've done nothing. I manage an apartment building. And meanwhile he's X amount of years old and he's successful and he's a lawyer and blah, blah, blah. Well, what she didn't know is that he did have problems, and they kind of go through that later in the later seasons. But the point is that there are going to be times when we stop and we see what other people have accomplished, and then we sit there and go, well, why can't that be me? Why am I not there? And for whatever reason you're not there, maybe you just haven't felt motivated, maybe you didn't go to school for some reason, maybe you thought life was going to take you in a whole different way, maybe you're out there daydreaming. It doesn't matter, because when you finally ask that question, what you're telling yourself is, this is where I'm at now. And because it's now a conscious thought, it's not something just sitting in the background. Now remember, this is just my perspective, but you're giving yourself the ability to move forward right where you're at. Don't go backwards and think about, well, what if I had done this, or should I have done that, or I wish I had that opportunity, or I wanted to be able to do this but I couldn't because circumstances. Okay, yada yada yada. I've heard them all because I've said them all to myself. But where are you right now? Are you where you want to be? Are you taking steps to be where you want to be? Sorry guys, I'm having like some major malfunctions here today. So sorry. But are you? And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this to be disruptive to anybody's flow of thinking. I'm saying this because these are all the things that have gone through my own head. Especially where I'm at now at my age. I see a lot of people, behind me that are just like, wow, what if? But I can't do the what ifs. Because at the time they were living their lives and doing their things and moving forward, I was struggling. I was struggling with my trauma. I was struggling in the place that my brain was trying to be at. I was struggling to remind myself that I mattered, that I was worth it, and that I needed to keep moving forward. And that doesn't mean that we're all like that. Some people just are able to move forward and then they deal with things later, or maybe they deal with things better. I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. That's why this is just a perspective to kind of plant the seed of, don't worry about what happened yesterday and every day before that. Can you change it? Can you go back in time and do that? Do you have a time machine? Because if you do, can I borrow it? And I think if I had a time machine, I'm not sure how much I would change, because changing one thing can change so many other things. You know, if I did find a way to heal faster, would a lot of the people who are even just half my age be able to find that person that they've listened to, that has talked to them, that has guided them through some of their things? You know, we don't know what lives we touch along the way. Sometimes we do, and I've been very blessed to know some of the people whose lives I have touched, and that's a place of gratitude for me, because that helps me heal some more. That reminds me to not stop on my journey and to keep going, because what I have chosen to put some of my effort, to put a lot of my efforts towards, is working for other people. It is helping other people. And in return, that helps me and it works for me. Not because I'm filling my cup with their accomplishments. My cup is filling itself because I'm filling it. But it reminds me that this is a purpose, and this is a purpose that I have chosen, that was, gifted to me because of, my talent for talking and for just coming up with shit off the top of my head. And I'm very grateful for that. Even my dad told me one time that he's like so amazed at how things just come off the top of my head. And it's a crazy gift sometimes. I know a couple of other people who have that. And actually there's a lot of people that have that, where we just come up with stuff off the top of our head. Because we're open. The more we open ourselves to receive these messages, the more we're able to pass them through and get them to where they need to go. But it's also from experience. I mean, this just didn't happen overnight. I look at some of my earlier videos and all I can think of is like, yeah, and just skipping over things like, holy crap, and it's like losing thoughts. And I still lose thoughts. You've seen it. You've seen it right here where it's like, yeah, okay, I'll come back to it. And then I circle back somehow, right? And I'm not always off the top of my head. I mean, how many times have we seen me go in like 90 directions before I actually get where I want to go? But that might be my storyteller mind. And no, I'm not tooting my own horn. What I'm saying is that there are going to be times in our life where we are going to question where we could have been or where we should have been. But I know for some people it might seem lazy, but this is where I fall back onto that term. I'm exactly where I need to be in this moment at this time. Or just, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And I look back and I think, you know what? Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Maybe this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Maybe other people will get there a lot faster than I will. Maybe I'll have a hand in that. Maybe I won't. Maybe someone else will. But I see so many people, including people who are older than me, that sit there and have so many what ifs and I should have done. Then go do them. Okay? It's like I said last week. If you're still breathing, you have the opportunity to pursue anything you want to pursue. You want to go back to school? Go back to school. Don't worry about how old you are. Who cares if you're the oldest person in the class? Okay? I can tell you, this is actually kind of a cool thing. I mentioned that older sibling and I are quite a few years apart in age. And what I love about that is I love history. History is just you know, it's always been one of my favorite subjects. I feel like you just can get so immersed in the past. I mean, even the icky parts, right? Because we learn from our history. That's what I was talking about yesterday. We have to learn from our history so we stop repeating it. But history is also interesting in so many different aspects and the way you look at it. Older sibling was very young when JFK was assassinated. She was still a child or a kid when Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King were both assassinated. But but to talk to her is a gift, because I can get her perspective, not just what the books say, not just what a history book tells you, but her perspective. It's just like when I was talking about the Museum of Tolerance, and they had the speakers. You're hearing the stories from the mouths of people who have lived it, and it is a different perspective, because it makes everything we've ever read in a book real. And that can be scary when it's really in your face and real. And but it's a gift. Even if it's scary, and even if the stories they're telling sound, like real life horror stories, it's for us to learn and to pass on. It's for us to learn and remind people. It's like when I was talking about a few weeks ago when I was standing on the USS Arizona Memorial when I was a teenager. And that gentleman walked up to me and put his hand on my shoulder because I was in tears looking at all the family members, just everybody on that wall who had died, and knowing how they died. Some of them just drowning because they couldn't get out. What a horrible feeling. What a horrible way to die. Just dying in any kind of unnatural cause is just horrible and painful, but to be faced with your mortality and know that that's it, and then be trapped, and it is very surreal in its own way to see this ship below you. But to have that man come up and put his hand on my shoulder and say, thank you for honoring those, names on the wall, and, please don't ever forget. Don't ever, our history lives on with you young people. And he had been on the Arizona. He had survived that day. My grandmother told me about the planes flying over and how the sky went black and the ground just shook. This is why we have to revere the people who are older than us. I hate when we call them elders, all right, or when we sit there and call them like, oh, our old people. There are living historians. They are our living historians. My dad was in the Vietnam War, and there are times when I ask him about it. He doesn't talk about it a lot. And I find that to be a lot with people who have been in war. They don't talk about it a lot. But there are going to be times when they open up. And there are going to be times when they say, hey, yeah, I met this other person or that person. Or, they will share more of the good times that they had. I know it's war, but there are those moments of levity that happen. And, see, even baby sibling, she went there too, and it was crazy. It's crazy to see the ship down below you. It's just like, wow. It's a very powerful moment. It's a very powerful moment, because you're also reminded that there are people that were trapped in there, and they're always going to be in there. And, even if it's just bones, or maybe the water just disintegrated, I don't know how that works. But whatever happened, that there were people there. And it's a very, right? I know, baby siblings pointing out the historical facts of it. Believe it or not, and this is something that they still talk about, even if you watch a documentary nowadays, the Arizona is still leaking oil. Okay, you can see it. That's how much oil that thing was carrying. But even after burning for so long, it's still to this day, what is it, like 81 years later this December, still leaking oil. So 80 years at this point. But what we have to remember is that this is our history. We have our living historians. I have become a living historian for some people who are younger than me who say, wow, what was that? We had, not a lot has happened in my life, but we've had the Challenger explosion. We've had, other things. And I've had kids ask me, have you been around for this? And it's just like, oh, wow, am I at that age now? But this is who we are. So don't be ashamed of where you're at or how old you are, because no matter what your situation, you've done the best you could to get where you're at now. And if you're still breathing, then you need to thank yourself for getting yourself this far. The show I was watching, the character that was complaining was a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. Okay. And it's a comedy, but it kind of focuses on the recovery process of, a group of people, a mom and a daughter and a group of friends. But all I could think of was, yeah, I know this is a scripted show, but it's like there's other people in the world thinking this. And it's like, you're still alive. You're capable of anything. And you are. So again, if you're still breathing, get out there and do whatever it is you want to do. Don't worry about the long term, okay? If it's going back to school and you're not sure you're cut out for it, take one class. See how it works out for you. Take one online. There's a lot of online classes, but you can also go to college online. See how that works out for you. Just worry about it one semester at a time. And before you know it, you're going to be done. I have a friend who just graduated from college just this last fall. And, she's a year younger than me. But she's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going back. And don't worry if you feel like you're too old, like, oh, well, I don't want to go back to school. What's the point? By the time I'm done, I'll be almost retired. Well, who cares? Look at what you could do with that degree. And if a degree isn't for you and it's something else that you want to pursue, just pursue it. You're never going to know unless you try. And I'm saying this to myself too, because I have a lot of finished stories that I have. Some are longer, some are shorter. But last night I finished a short story that I started last summer. I actually finished it last summer. But when I started doing the rewrites, I thought, you know what? I started fleshing it out more. And it was a very important story to me. It's not, in no way is it autobiographical, but it just came from a very dark place in my mind. It was before I started doing my shadow work. But when I started doing my shadow work, I started to see the changes that I could make. And the story that I completed last summer in like 4 days, it's only like 40 pages long. It's a short story. But the story that I completed last summer versus the story that I put the real ending on last night, I saw the difference in my mindset. I saw the power in this character, that this strength that this character finds in their healing and in the people around them, and in knowing that they needed help, and knowing that they are capable, and it's okay to reach out and ask for that compassion and that empathy of something they've gone through. And I was really trying to put a face to mental health, or on mental health. I was telling older sibling, I said, there's no description of the people in this. There's ages and maybe references to how old some of them might be or may not be. I think there's really only truly 2 or 3 references to how old certain characters were, but it kind of, it's the way their lives intersect that makes sense to them. But I told her, I said, I didn't want to describe anyone other than their situation, because mental health is anybody. It doesn't care about race. It doesn't care about color. It doesn't care about creed. It doesn't care about religion. It doesn't care about anything. It doesn't care if your eyes are blue and brown. It just happens to anybody. So, I don't know. Let's see what we got for an affirmators deck, or affirmators card. Oh, that's interesting. We got a bonus card. And with the this is kind of funny. I only say this kind of funny because it's getting a little deep and heavy there. So our cards are manifestation and playfulness. And you know what? I'm gonna go with these. I thought maybe I should save the affirmators deck for tomorrow, but I think I want to do it today just because you know, also, oh wait. Okay, maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. I accidentally pulled a third one, but it's not time for that one yet. So I'm going to just randomly stick it back in the deck. So, as per usual, we'll read the bonus card after we read the real card. Little Mary Poppins on a motorbike or motorcycle. Playfulness. I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. Mary Poppins put sugar in the medicine for a reason. That lady really knows how to party. Yeah, she does. Well, why is she on a motorcycle if she has an umbrella that can fly? Seriously? I mean, it's a talking umbrella. At least she has a companion, right? So, again, I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. I like that manifestation came up with this card, because how many times have we done that? We played the what if or the should have game. And then we bring ourselves down. We create this heavy burden on ourselves. So, you know, if there's something that you feel you should do, instead of saying, what if I had done this? You know, what if I had gone to college when I was 18 years old? Say, what if I go to college now? You know, forget about the shoulds. Not the should I, or should I have done, or should I do. Do the what if I do it now? Put that in your head. Stick it in your head. Take all the negative things that you've thought about. What if I had done this when I was younger? What if I had done that when I was younger? What if I do it now? What if I heal myself to the point where I'm capable of doing these things now? What if I allow myself to heal? And a lot of times it is about allowing. And I know a lot of people will sit there and say, you know what, you're full of shit because I allow myself to do this. You know what? I used to say the same thing. And everybody's different. Everybody's different. Some people it's going to work. Some people that wording will not work. For the people that resonates with, that is for you. For the people that it doesn't, just go back and see what does work for you. Because I would have said the same thing to myself 2 years ago. Fuck you, Shelly Marie. What the hell do you know? But then one day I decided to choose that. Just like I have a friend who, you know, I posted a little meme this morning from a different site on Facebook. And in the end, it says, I choose to be happy. And she says, I like that. She's all, because it really is a choice. But she's all, I prefer the word decide. Well, decide doesn't work for me. Because decisions are not my strong suit. But I know it's almost basically the same thing. Choosing and deciding. But choose works for me. It fits where I'm at. It fits my healing process. You know, because for me, it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to decide to do this today. But then I could change my mind. Because for me, it's a whole, even though they're very similar in me, they're very different to me. Because for me, I personally have to choose. I have to push myself in that direction. And like I said, decisions are not always my strong suit. I mean, I can volleyball with people all day. I don't care. What do you want to do? I don't care. What do you want to do? Decisions are not strong. I need to be better at it, and I am going to be better at it. And I think that's why she put that comment in there. Not because she was intending to tell me to use the word decide, but because I think somebody out there knew I needed to learn how to be better at making decisions for myself. But let's get to the manifestation card. If you could have anything you wanted, what would it be? Get specific and get ready. There you go. What if I do this? Okay. You're holding a magic wand and you can conjure up anything. Could it be that when you declare your wishes out loud, you're actually casting a spell for your dreams to come true? Or is it just that in a very practical sense, the more people you speak with about your desires, the more folks there are who know what you want and might have the means to help you make them happen? Either way, stop waiting and start manifesting. But don't use that word if you don't want to. There you go. See? Don't use that word if you don't want to. Good morning, baby bear. So there you go. Whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, if you put something out there, it is going to find a way to happen for you. It may not happen like that. It may take a while to happen. But if you truly, truly believe and you have faith that it will happen, it will find a way to manifest into your life. You don't have to pretend to be a magician. You don't have to pretend to be a spellcaster. You don't have to pretend to be, some almighty being that can just manifest anything you want. Because I know for some people, that's just a joke to them. But for others, it's not. Having that proverbial magic wand is real. Having that ability to spellcast is real. Having that ability to just manifest anything out of the thin air is real to some people. I'm a bit into the woo-woo, so I believe everything is possible. And that's why I'm trying to fix my mindset, because I also believe that when we manifest, if we are able to manifest good things, we're also able to manifest bad things. Okay, and it's not intentional, but think about the words you say to yourself and how much you hurt yourself. I was recently reading an article about thyroid disease and what causes it. It's actually written by a doctor, and but a doctor who also has her toes and her one foot really in the metaphysical realm. And I've actually been looking this up for quite some time, but more in Google, because I didn't realize there were books out there for it. But that same friend who talked about decisions, pointed it out to me that there is a book about these things, but how our negative talk and the negativity that we surround ourselves with can actually cause physical ailments. And what I was looking up for was the thyroid. And they talk about the various autoimmune diseases that can also go with thyroid. And what I found interesting was that when they were talking about it, she says in all of the patients that she saw that she would diagnose with thyroid disease, they all had something in common. She's like 1 in 5, but no, she actually said most of the women had one thing in common. They all had negative self-talk. And she started putting 2 and 2 together, and then started doing some research on it on her own. And then she started talking about how a lot of times a woman's, their thyroid can really kind of go out of whack because, maybe they're upset, they have doubts, they have fears, they're worried about everything, they have negative self-talk, they don't believe in themselves, they just say trashy things about themselves. Maybe they grew up seeing other people do it, maybe other people said it to them and they believed it. But it was just very interesting, this whole article that I read, because it's just like, oh my God. It's like, when we sit there and talk horrible about ourselves, what are we doing to our bodies? Because we're attracting it. And what you put out there, it's going to find a way to bring it back to you. So it's not always about just sitting there going, oh yeah, sunshine and roses, let's go out there and do this, that, or the other, because, the world needs to be just sprinkled with wildflowers everywhere. That's not reality. It can be, depending on how you look at it. Some people can walk into a garden where the weeds are overgrown and it just looks like, and just say, oh my God, what a mess. What a mess. Then other people will go in there and see the weeds that are actually flowers, wildflowers, growing, and say, this is the most beautiful place in the whole world. I just want to sit here for about ever. Forever. I want to put a bench here and just exist here. And it's all about perception. It's all about perspective. So again, you have one person that can walk into this garden and see nothing but overgrown, weeds and grass and plants and just, they're just going to put themselves behind the 8 ball because it's like, look at all the stuff I have to do now. And then one more time, there's that second person that comes in and says, I'm going to put a bench here because this is beautiful. All these wildflowers just growing and doing their thing. Because they're not limiting their thoughts. They're not limiting themselves to seeing something gross and ugly and what they're trained to believe, what they're taught to believe. Instead, they're looking at the beautiful potential that's there. Yeah, maybe the grass might need to be mowed. Maybe there are some weeds that are not good that need to be pulled. But not all things that we consider weeds are ugly. Some of them are beautiful flowers that we consider to be weeds because they don't add to the aesthetic. But when you look at nature and you look at life in the whole and in a nutshell, and you allow for that playful side to even come in, you're allowing yourself to see something that is so much bigger than yourself, something so beautiful that nature created just for you. So, the next time you see something that looks kind of like out of whack, look at it twice. Look at it from the perspective of how you were taught to look at it. And look at it from, take a deep breath, turn around, maybe walk back out, walk back in, or walk out, walk back in. And try to look at it from your perspective. What do you see? Remove all of the pre-existing thoughts. And what do you see? Okay, because remember, manifestation, it's not just about manifesting good. Your thoughts can also bring in the negative. All right? So if you're thinking negative, guess what? And you're really putting some good energy behind that negativity, or maybe you're so angry and you're just like, oh, today sucks. Well, today's going to suck until you change your mind. You have to decide or choose for it to be better. Even if it doesn't get better under certain circumstances, the way you face it is how it's going to change and how it's going to be easier, because you will suddenly have the patience and the trust and the calm to make the right decision so it doesn't get worse. Right? It's like a line of things just falling, and then you have to pull one up just to stop that bad flow. And then change your mindset, and then poof, it can keep going. That's manifestation. Manifestation is not just about attracting the good. If you're not careful, you can also attract the bad. So the more we put out what we want in this world, the more we put out without stipulations what we want in this world. Just like I said, if you're trying to manifest something, give your guides, give your higher power, your source, whatever it is, the universe, the wiggle room it needs to bring it to you by saying this or something better. If it's something very specific, just say this, the equivalent, or something better. You don't want to take something that belongs to somebody else. I mean, because you don't know how that's going to be delivered to you, right? Bad things could happen for you to get that. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to hurt anyone in the process. So you can also use in the divine right way. Okay, but sometimes I have actually found that using in the divine right way, it's because it's fear-based for me, because I'm so worried that someone's going to get hurt doing something else that, that sticks in the back of my head. So now I just try to say this or something better, or this and the equivalent or something better, because I know my intentions are pure. I know my intentions are set on good, not stun or bad. So, but be playful too. Find a reason to be joyous today. Find a reason to get out there and just, be a playful participant in life. If you're not sure what to do with yourself today, maybe you have a day off, maybe, you're just home, just go out there and do something. Go for a drive. Go for a short drive. Even if there's nowhere to go, just go for a short drive. Go for a walk. Go to the beach if you have a beach near you. If not, go to your favorite place. Go have coffee somewhere and sit and people watch. There are so many things that we can do to be a playful participant in life, and it's just, we always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. So I want everyone to think about that for a little bit. I got nothing else. I got nothing else in the tank. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Just remember, guys, don't worry about where you think you should be or where you thought you would be by now. Take your what ifs and make them present term. What if I do this instead of what if I could have done that, or what if I had done that? Stop looking into the past and at what you didn't do at the time. And even though it doesn't always work for everybody, because sometimes even I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just really try to think about that. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be at this point in time. And like I said, you never know whose life you've touched along the way. You may have touched a lot of lives and not even realized it. So just hold tight to the fact that every year you add, or every moment you add to your life, there's somebody who may be affected by something that you've done, and they may be affected in the most beautiful way. Even a smile can change somebody's day. And you don't know. Sometimes I think it could actually change somebody's life. I mean, let's throw out a scenario before I let you go, okay? You're walking down the street. Somebody's having a terribly bad day. And they're just disgruntled, they're grumpy, but then you smile and say, "Hey, how you doing?" That might change them because now they feel seen. And it might take a moment for them to really kind of grasp that and let it soak in. But then it's kind of like, maybe it hits them like a ton of bricks and they're like, "Thank you." They're thinking to themselves, "Okay, well, that person's gone, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you for getting me out of my own head." And you don't know what could happen. I mean, what if that smile, they walk into a coffee shop and now they're in a good mood, they're smiling, and the person next to them starts talking to them. That could be a new person in their life. That could be a new friend. Because you've helped them up their vibe just by smiling at them, just by saying something. And yes, it is that easy. Yes, that is possible. I went to a coffee shop and I don't know if this person will ever pop into my life again, but the words that they shared with me, the things that they were talking about were just so magical and so perfect for what I needed in that moment. And when I walked in, it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm here for coffee. But when I saw that it was the coffee cup with the saucer and the heart in it, the pretty drawings they put with the froth and the milk and all that stuff, it made my day so much that my vibe ramped up. And I quite possibly made a new friend. So you never know what things can change somebody. The people behind the counter were so lovely and so nice, and sometimes random things just happen to us that can, up our mood and just bring us to a different level of thinking that can attract people into our lives, that can attract good, positive things into our lives. So just stay open to that, and stay open to the possibility that your smile and saying hello to someone may have actually changed their day. And don't worry if it did or did not. Just think in the positive. Think, yeah, you know what? That smile was life-changing for somebody. Because why not, right? Because you're worth it. You're worth it. And I know that if somebody smiled at you and said, "Hey, how are you doing?" you would love that too. Okay, so I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Tomorrow is Self-Care Wednesday. That is the one thing that's always going to be the same. Self-Care Wednesday, it's hump day. I don't know if baby sibling's still on, but tomorrow's hump day. But I notice I make a really stupid face when I say that. But yeah, just tomorrow's Self-Care Wednesday. So please join me then. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Oh yeah, she is still on. She's laughing. But yeah, just tomorrow, Self-Care Wednesday. It's hump day. So I'm gonna have to pay attention to that tomorrow when I say it. I usually don't say it till I know that she's on. So but yeah, I will see you back here tomorrow. We will probably do more of the stress reduction essentials deck. Oh, I finally got that right. And of course, for the guidance reading in the morning, I always start with the self-care oracle deck. Good Lord. So yeah, I hope to see you here. Self-Care Wednesdays always prove to be kind of, I would say, fun and enlightening, because there are things that come up that I didn't even know or even think of that can really, really help people. So I hope to see you there. If you are unable to watch live, I do post it to YouTube. Let me start that over again, because I'm just like tripping all over myself. I will see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Facebook Live under Shelly Marie Lucas. It is public. Anybody can watch. Or I upload it to YouTube right after under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. Usually give it to about 10:30 or 11, guys, because I can't control the internet. And then I do forward it to Twitter after that. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please just love yourselves. Speak kindly to yourself, okay? Because you do not know what your negative words might be doing to your body and your overall state of being. So the more positive we talk about ourselves, the better it is. And if you do say something negative to yourself, just say, you know what? I do not wish to manifest that into reality. I do not wish to manifest that into reality, and just let it poof out of your mind and replace it with something positive. Okay, so have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.